Hello, let's start on Learning Objective 2, BIM and GIS. So for this video module, we are going to explore three main topics. The first one is to explore IFC and its spatial structure, so looking how IFC is assembled and what's inside, and let's use a viewer for that. Then we are looking at the alphanumerical information that IFC encloses, and we are going to connect that with Building Smart Data Dictionary information that actually feeds the IFC with the knowledge of what it has to enclose in terms of alphanumerical information. And then we're going to speak a little bit about GIS layers. So first of all, looking at the exploration and spatial structure of IFC. We have to know to some extent that IFC will allow you, in the case of buildings, to break down the structure of your project into a site, which is the global terrain that you would be speaking of. I'm going to speak in very broad terms, not very precise, but to the general public, it's easier to understand. Then on top of the site, we will have the IFC building, as you see on the picture, and then the building story, which is a decomposition of the building normally in stories. On each story, we will have the composition of several objects, and some of them are the IFC spaces themselves, and we are able to determine one IFC space per room, but also aggregations of rooms will become IFC spaces as well. So the IFC space is a class of objects that we will be discussing more during this video. So the video that I'm going to display right after this slide will be regarding this aspect of exploration of IFC. So on purpose, I'm starting by saying what the video will contain because it will make easier the process of going to the video. So we are going to open a viewer of IFC. We chose BIM Vision, which is one of the available viewers that you can download for free as a viewer. We are going to go through the IFC and measure, for example, height and area in the IFC to show that you can just use the IFC to query your models and understand. And also the spatial breakdown structure that I mentioned, the IFC building, the stories, we'll go through that as well. So let's start. Here is the interface of BIM Vision. We are opening it and looking at the IFC of one model that is a fictitious building created in Vila Nova de Gaia. And here it is being measured. In this case, we are going to measure the distance between a point and a plane. So we are choosing a point on the ceiling and or on the top of the building, on the roof, and one plane in the bottom. And you saw the height was 41 meters. Now we are going to make a different kind of measurements. We are going to one of the slabs of the building, and we are going to measure with a custom polygon. So we just click on the necessary points, and we can manage to measure whatever area we want. We could go for an area that was already there in terms of measuring a shape, but we can also customize the type of measurements we make, and here it is 1,400 square meters. And this is the kind of thing we can do. It is relatively easy to interact with the models, and this is something in building permits we were using with CAD files, and now we can do it with IFCs in a very streamlined manner as well. As for the breakdown structure of the model, we can see on the right-hand side, we have the tree of the model with project, site, and building, and for each story, we will have one segregation, there we are now on building story 7, and we have isolated building story 7, which is very convenient. And now we selected one space within building story 7. And this space is there. It's named Cozinha, which is kitchen in Portuguese. And now we are at a room, sala. And then finally we go to another room, and we can see that we can also select the space that contains all the spaces in this floor. So this space will have properties. One of them is its own area. So we can measure the area of this global space and know for example, the gross area of this story of the building. Okay, so this is the kind of thing we can ask from designers to submit to the permitting process, and then we can make a lot of measurements, a lot of verifications based on what the software is then able to offer us because we had good information requirements. So let's continue. We now go for another video which will explore a little bit more into one IFC space and what information IFC space will contain. We will see that the BIM objects in an IFC model will contain something that is called property sets. The property sets are managed by Building Smart Data Dictionary, and we are going to show you the property sets space common that contains a property named isExternal. So this all will be shown in the software, the same software that we were before. But then in the second part of the video, we are going to a web browser and search the Building Smart Data Dictionary to search for a space. And then within the space, we are going to find the property set that contains the isExternal property. And we show that the fact that isExternal is determined by Building Smart will allow that everyone submitting IFCs for building permitting will have some property set and some property named isExternal, and this will be recognizable by the software. So this is the good thing, that we have homogenization of information. So here we have our building, so let's select the space. So we are now on a certain building story that we have isolated that particular story, and now we are going to select one space. So we see that we have several objects, walls, slabs, windows, but we select spaces now. And for this one space that we select, we can highlight the properties, and here we see the properties of the space, and there's a property set that is called space common, and it contains one parameter that is called isExternal. And we could have many others, but we are just giving an example. So now we are Googling for Building Smart Data Dictionary. We go there, and now we are going to search within it. So to search within this data dictionary, let's just go search for space. And within space, we will, of course, have many things. Then we have to filter. So we can do this in many ways, but we are filtering now for classes. Now let's go to the class space, which is of the code IFC space, which is what we were looking at. There's the definition. And now we can go and look for the property sets and the properties that are enclosed to this space. So if we go all the way through, we will find, if we expand the number of properties we are seeing, we will eventually find the property set that we were mentioning and the isExternal reference. So there's the space common and there's the isExternal. And based on this now, we can relate to the fact that this is already in our software. So the property set space common isExternal was in our software to begin with, and this is not by chance. This is because it was prescribed as such, and then it's recognizable by others who use our own models. Yeah, and that's it. So we still continue to disclose more information about what we can get in the case now of GIS. So now we are changing from BIM to GIS, and we are going to show you a little bit on two of the partners of the project, which are Lisbon and Gaia. They both contain web platforms where people from the city can go and understand how the municipality is working. So this is also to bring the knowledge and the perception that many municipalities already have their public GIS systems, and they allow that you get information from there. So within digital building permits, this is a further step. But at least for illustration, and some municipalities don't have this yet, for illustration, it's nice to see even things that already existed even before Czech project. So let's start with showing a little bit about the web GIS system of Lisbon. Then we are going to look at some zones of the master plan that we can activate. So we'll look at two particular zones that I will mention. And then we are going to open the GIS of Gaia with one of its views, which is the 3D city data. And we are going to look at a specific building there. And we'll see the two different ways of looking at the same information, but one of them will be 2D and the other will be 3D. Yeah, so this is the Lisbon website that anyone can go there and see. For example, this is the master plan of Lisbon and the qualification of urban spaces. So we are now going to the western area of town, which is a relatively recent and a well-known area of the city. And we are going to press on that brown area where we are going to see there are 4 qualifications possibly, but we only focus on the fourth. The fourth qualification is that it's a housing area, so we know then what articles apply to that. But then we go to the next green area on the right, and the green area on the right is actually a riverside reserved space for a green space, we would call it. And you see also the law that applies to it. So in this way, we have a segregation of information that we can use to interact with BIM. But also the same happens with the city of Gaia, Vila Nova de Gaia in Portugal, and they have the city model also in a GIS format, and this GIS can be then queried online through the 3D representations that go to a certain level of information and detail, but we could see there a building being queried, and we can see what's about that building. This is also online, and you can visit it at any time. Probably when you see this video, it will even be more powerful. And that's it for this video. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed.